The last of our selective formulas is the average if. Now the average if will allow you to work out the mean of a range based on some set criteria. So if we wanted to work out the average of all sales that were over $25, we would start with equals average if, open brackets. Just like the sum, there are two ranges, one for the criteria and one for the averaging, unless you're using the same range for the criteria as you are to work out the average, which we are with more than 25. So our range here is the sales range, and our criteria, just like the sum if and the count if, must be included in speech marks, is greater than 25. So we're going to work out the average of all sales that meet our criteria of being greater than $25 and return, and we find out the average is $70 and a few cents. For over 50, we get equals average if, open brackets, the same range, sales range, but the criteria is different this time, greater than 50, and return, and the average is 84.58824, which we can format down to 2 decimal places, 84.59. So the average sale of all sales over $25 is $70, and the average sale for all sales over $50 is just short of $85. Now with our other options here, we'd like to find out what Bob's average sale is. Equals average if, this time there are two ranges, one for our criteria to apply to and one that we're going to work out the average in. So the first one is the criteria range, which is the salesman, comma. The criteria is this cell here for Bob, and then the range that we would like to work the average out on is the sales range. Because it highlights as you go, you can immediately see that you've selected the right regions and the right cell for the criteria, and return works out that Bob's average sale is 46.14286. Let's format that to 2 decimal places and then replicate. So we can see that Dot and Sue's have exactly the same average, whereas Bob is slightly higher. So I recall from the count if that he actually had less sales, but they must be larger sales. For January, we can do our average if to work out our monthly averages. So the criteria range is the month column. Criteria is that cell there, and the averaging range is the sales range. Return and replicate. Format to 2 decimal places, and we see that some months do remarkably better than others. June, for example. And then the average for each fruit. So average if fruit column, the name of the fruit we're looking for in that column, and then the range that we're averaging, which is the sales range. Return, bananas are 37.05085. Let's format to 2 decimal places and then replicate. And we find that kiwis have the largest average sale. So that's the average if function, very similar to the sum if, but obviously carrying out a different function in this case, working out the average or the mean of a selected range within your data.